Howdy, folks. Radical Russ here, and I just got to take a moment to rant about making America great again. That seems to be a topic that's on a lot of people's minds lately, and I figured we ought to go to some actual statistics to see how great or not great America really is. My data source for the rant today comes from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD. According to the United States State Department, the OECD is a unique forum where the governments of 37 democracies with market-based economies collaborate to develop policy standards and promote sustainable economic growth. These 37 democracies, you could say, are the like-minded first world democracy capitalist countries. So it gives us a good look of countries that we can compare ourselves to see just how great or not great America really is. Let's start with life expectancy. I think we can all agree that if America was truly great, out of all 37 of these market-based democracies, we'd be living the longest, right? Well, let's take a look. The blue dots represent the life expectancy of men, the X's represent the life expectancy of women, and the diamonds are the overall averages. And as we look over here on the far right, we see Switzerland leading all of the OECD democracies with almost 84 years of life expectancy. A man can expect to live to be about 82. A woman can expect to live to be about 86 years old. So where's America? There's Switzerland, Iceland, Norway, Japan, Sweden, Australia, Israel, Korea, New Zealand, Luxembourg, Italy, Ireland, Spain, Netherlands, Denmark, Canada, Belgium, France, Finland, United Kingdom, Austria, Portugal, Chile, Germany, Costa Rica, Slovenia, Greece, Turkey, Czech Republic, Colombia. Oh, there we are. United States, where our average life expectancy is 76 years. Just 73 and a half years for men and just 79.3 years for women. Hooray, we're number 31. For life expectancy at age 65, we do a little bit better, but we're still here on the bottom end of the pack. With a person who's 65 years old, a male, can expect to live another 17 years, and a woman can expect to live another 19 years. Compare that to the leader of taking care of their old people, Japan, where a man can expect to live another 20 years from age 65, and a woman can expect to live another almost 25 years from age 65. How about infant mortality rates? How many infants per 1,000 live births die? Well, things are pretty bad in South Africa and India, where South Africa, 26 out of 1,000 babies die, and not much better in India, where it's 25. Of course, huge amounts of poverty going on there that contribute to that. But we look among the like-minded democracies, again, the United States is more toward the bad end of the scale, with 5.4 deaths per 1,000 live births. And then there's Japan all the way back there on the other end, taking care of their birth mothers with just 1.7 deaths per 1,000 live births. Another sad statistic for the United States is our suicide rates, which almost lead the world. Korea's got the highest suicide rate with 24 suicides per 100,000 people, but we're still in the top 10 with 14.1 suicides per 100,000 people. Part of what can make people consider suicide are financial difficulties, and in that respect, the United States is also in a category where it almost leads the world, and that's income inequality. In this chart, you're seeing from 0 to 1, where 0 is the most equitable and 1 would be the most disparate, the greatest gap between the rich and the poor. And again, South Africa comes up top on that list with a 0.62. Again, 1 would be the worst. But the United States is, again, within the top 10 there with a 0.38 when it comes to income inequality. We are one of the most unequal countries in the OECD. Another way of looking at income inequality is to graph out the working hours necessary to exit poverty. This is a look at how many hours per week you'd have to work at 67% of the average wage, 2/3 of the average wage. How many hours a week do you have to work to get out of the poverty level? And of all the OECD countries, the United States is second only to Slovenia in how hard you have to work. to get out of poverty. The blue dots represent a single person with no children, has to work 29 hours to get out of poverty. A diamond represents a jobless couple with no child, 39 hours to get out of poverty. And the X represents a jobless couple with 2 kids who would have to work 52 hours at 2/3 the average wage just to get themselves out of poverty. Compare that with countries like the United Kingdom, where they only need to work 11 hours or 15 hours or 23 hours in those respective categories to get themselves out of poverty. We'd love to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. It just doesn't pay very well. And speaking of those couples with children, childcare costs is one of the ways the United States leads all of the OECD countries by being the most expensive place to take care of a child. A couple on minimum wage has to give up 40% of their household income to take care of their kids. Compare that with Germany, with a lush social safety net, where they only need 1% of their household income to handle childcare. Part of the problem is the greater share of the jobs in the United States are poverty level jobs. This is a graph of wage levels that compares highest wages to lowest wages and gives you an idea of the percentage of those jobs that are low paying jobs. The average in the OECD is represented by that black bar. About 13.9% jobs in your average OECD country are low paying jobs. In the United States, we've got the third greatest disparity after only Israel and Latvia, where 22.7% of our jobs are low paying jobs. So MAGA people, if you really want to make America great again, shouldn't we make America great for Americans? Shouldn't Americans live longer? Shouldn't Americans be healthier? Shouldn't Americans get paid more? I don't know about you, but I don't like being number 31 out of 37. I'm Radical Russ, and that's the rant.